A very good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Textbook. So, students, many times when I read geography, when I try to link the utility of geography to other related subjects within UPSC preparation, be it in terms of economy, or be it in terms of international relations, or be it in terms of economic integration, which we discuss, one such thing which often I had a doubt is about, can continents be a single market? So here I'm discussing about to what extent geography can have a role to play with respect to developing economic integration, development of a market. Okay, to what extent, what are the factors which will lead to a single market? How geography can have a role? What is the utility of geography? What are the things which we can use about for the development of our country? This topic, as we discuss, it might not be directly correlated with respect to the syllabus mentioned in geography. It can be more international relations, more economy, but definitely I would like to emphasize about the relationship of geography with these things. That is what the essence of this topic is. So, as we can see in the map, we have multiple continents. Can each continent be a single market? What is the idea of a free market? Why do we have such kind of things? What is the ultimate benefit out of this? Recently, if you see, there is a query about the disputes of tax between India and within India, between the south versus north, where there was a controversial statement given by one such what we say, the political leaders from the Karnataka government. When you see such kind of things, where they are questioning about certain things, there is some kind of coherence which we need to understand about that. That is what I'll be discussing it. So, can continents be a single market? If you see, there is an European Union which is the base of such kind of ideas. In fact, this was the idea where we have seen significant progress. If you see the case study of European Union as a single market, even here also it is not completely the entire continent of the Europe, but definitely majority of the things you see here, they have developed as a single market. What is the single market story of European Union? One thing, majority of the countries are very close to each other, so they have geographical proximity, closeness, as you can see. So one of the reason they have geographical proximity to which they're able to turn into a single market. But if you go by the reasons why they are turned into a single market, you can see that after the World War II, you see that entire Europe was in shambles. The inflation in some of the countries in Europe was around 2000%, not 10-20%, 2000%. If you see the present inflation target in India is around, the target government tries to put it around 4 to 6%, isn't it? The inflation rates back then was 1500 to 2000 percentages. Imagine the economy was in shambles. There is a historical fight. If you study the world history, you will see that Europe was always conflicting among themselves until the World War II. In fact, World War II, World War I is essentially an European war, right? Right. So that's such kind of things have been seen. So by around 1950s, there is so much amount of collapse of the entire civilization. There is so much talk about these kind of things. The economy was under collapse. There is so much amount of lack of trust issues among our entire countries at that point of time. But still remember, they are part of the same civilization, same culture, mostly, right? They do have differences, but they are also part of the have shared common civilization and culture. So there are certain countries like France, Germany, Belgium. They have tried to, certain countries, they have tried to start a open market. What do you mean by an open market? There will be a single market regulations. So if you are trying to have activities, for example, as an Indian, if I wanted to do some kind of economic activity within this region, there is single rule, and that single rule will be applicable for almost all the nations here. There is not much of variation. That is what is called single market regulations. So if I wanted to, me as an entrepreneur wanted to access the markets of European Union here, there is only one rule it is we are following. It is almost like a European Union is a big country with all the actual countries acting as federations. You can see India. India is a union of indestructible union with the destructible states, right? That's what we say about India. So we can say that India is a broad central government, union government which is looking after, and there are state government which needs to handle it. Similarly, we can have the same kind of phenomena is what the idea is, right? So one such idea is when they have shaded, when they have did it, the most important thing they have done is single market regulations, common currency, which also helped them, and also free movement of people, goods, services, capital within the entire region. When you find free movement of goods, capital, people, services across the geography of the entire region, it will have common benefits. What would be the common benefits? There is more amount of, simply there is more choices would be having. Where do you want it to go? You have your choice. Which good do you wanted to buy? You have your choice, because the supply would be of multiple regions. So in the process, what will happen? Competition would be increasing. As competition increases, what would happen? The quality of the product, the services as an end customer which we get will bound to improve. Certain regions might be specialized in certain things. Say, as we discuss about the British climatic region, I do tell you that British climatic region is known for, or the regions of the British, the UK and all, and also Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, they are known for dairying. So I told you, Denmark, butter house of Europe, right? Each region within the dairying product, they have specialization. So using this specialization, they will be traveling across different parts, catering to the urban centers of Paris, London, and all such kind of things. That's what they used to do, right? So they have around, what happens when there is more economic integration, when there are simple rules, when there is a free movement of goods, services, and all, certain people will get, as a consumer, you'll have more choice. As you're seeing from the business point of view, you will have more market. You will develop efficiencies of scale. You will develop quality. You will develop about the competition will drive to you towards quality, and over a period of time, it will be having a shared prosperity to different parts of the same region. That is the idea of a single market. So geographical proximity, this is what we call economic integration. Now, if I wanted to sell, say example, if I'm part of one of the country here, I am producing around, say, automobiles, cars. Now I can sell these entire cars to all the parts of this country, all this region. It is not necessarily one country. So that is the advantage you had. Using all these things, the success which they had was decently high. If you see the European Union in the present era in terms of the country status, you will find that $16 billion, the trillion dollars, the economy of European Union, if you take it as a one specialized country, it will be $16 trillion. So that is the essence. The learnings out of this is, of course, there is geographic proximity, but is the single market regulations, the free movement of goods, the economic integration, these are the most dominant. I would say that this is having almost around 60 to 70% of the role in terms of continents turning into a single market. Geographical proximity, I would say around 20 to 30%. We also have around the remaining things, political unity, cultural unity, even those also have a role to play. Of course, because they have a shared common interest and all shared cultural unity, it was not a big challenge to them. But in other regions, if you wanted to emulate the same kind of idea in different continents of the world, can continents be a single market? You just need to know that there are multiple parameters towards this. I hope all of you are following this. I hope this topic is an interesting topic to be discussed. Am I right? Right? Let me see any kind of comments which is there. Right? Okay. Now you can see here, if you see the other aspects of the single market and all, what is the learnings to the world as you learn about the European Union? Did they try, when you see such kind of success in the last 50 years in the European Union, Can it not be replicated in different parts of the world now? Were there no trials of such kind of events? Definitely there were trials. One such trial which was happened, say in America, in the American regions, which happened is the North Atlantic Free Trade Organization, NAFTA, North Atlantic Free Trade Organization, but it was there almost for around 15-20 years. But the kind of manufacturing issues which America has faced, they have seen that they have dropped out of it in the last 5 years ago, around 2018-19, they have dropped out of it, right? So there was an issue of NAFTA there. The reason was manufacturing was impacted. So we need continuous, rigorous supply of politics, and there has to be decent size of the market. One of the challenge which the America, Mexico, and Canada was faced with, different regions were different. These countries are at different stage of growth. The needs of each nations are different. Because of that, they are significantly contrastingly different, which led to variations. So despite the continent being the same, they have the political or the cultural variations because of their structure of their societies, because of the structure of their level of development in the societies as well. The same learnings as you study, now they're trying to make African Union, which is this Africa, African Continental Free Trade Area, they're trying to make a full member of these entire nations of Africa, where they have a common shared agreements, shared trading, and all such kind of things, wanted to improve the overall quality of African Union. Such attempts are being made in African. And what about India? We also have some kind of, I think as part of the general discussions which you might have around different people in our country, you can see that one such idea which was emulated, Akhand Bharat, it is nothing but it is an idea of where India was once upon a time connected with multiple portions across the Indian subcontinent. We have the entire Indian subcontinent. These are the countries which are once part of the same culture. Even now, there are some kind of cultural differences which have developed with time, especially because of the political thing and all. So there was some kind of ideas which were provided to integrate. So while you try to integrate, please understand, what do you mean by continent? What is actually as a continent? If you understand the definition of what do you mean by continent, automatically you'll also understand about, can continents be a single market? What do you mean by continent? Continent is a large land area, which also include the surrounding islands. It is not specifically the land area alone. A large land area which has a distinct geographical, cultural, political identity, economical identity. People might talk about mostly about geography. Yes, it is not just alone together. When you talk about the word continent, it's having a distinct geographical, political, cultural identity. If you talk about Indian subcontinent, the word Indian subcontinent itself is called so because Indian subcontinent itself has all the identities of a continent within the bigger continent called Asia. So why India is called as a subcontinent? Because you have all these things together. That is the reason why India is called it as a subcontinent, right? So India is a land of subcontinent because it has the subcontinent itself is a shared, distinct geographical, cultural, political, economic identity. That is the reason why we have such kind of things. So any region which have such things, you can have some kind of a impact. So you have a distinct geographical identity. When you talk about India, India is surrounded by the landmass. You can talk about a distant geographical identity surrounded by the mighty Himalayas. When you are surrounded by the mighty Himalayas, what is happening? There is, and also surrounded by oceans here, this region has a distinct geographical identity because there is no easy connection connecting from all the way from China. So the geography is hindering the connectivity here, or in other words, showing you a distinct identity. That is one. Geologically, this entire region was part of the same landmass. We can see the peninsular block, which was part of the same. Then you have seen the plains and the things which have developed. Climatologically, India is regarded as a tropical to a subtropical country. That is there. So culturally, despite you have different kinds of languages, culture and all, the idea was always there that as a system, as a kind of a societal system, India has always around unity in diversity, isn't it? There is a cultural diversity is there within each. As you move from one state to another state, the food, the cloth, the way we speak, everything varies. But overall, still, the idea of as a country, we have that kind of an idea that there is some kind of commonness which we have, right? So that is the reason why we are largely a peaceful nation, right? So all these kind of things together, you can say that Indian subcontinent has a certain thing. Now, how India can utilize these benefits? If you see the three farmers bill, the three farm bills, right? All the three, be it around the be it around the farm bill with respect to increasing the choice for the farmer to sell, be it around the contract farming, or be it about the restrictions which the government is imposing on certain things to be removing that, you have seen that there were so many kinds of challenges given there, and you have seen the challenge. So in fact, one of the reason why we are trying to promote the farm bills is to increase the choice for the farmer to sell, isn't it? That's what we have discussed. No, what is the success story from the European Union? Ultimately, it is about the choice to buy, choice to do your economic activity. The same thing we are trying to do it here, right? So such kind of things. So when you talk about this kind of idea, whenever you talk about continents being a single market, and please understand that continents are not just about a huge area. It is not just a locational identity of one latitude to another latitudinal extent, longitude to longitude. It's not just about the length and the breadth. It's always about the people as well, isn't it? So you do learn geography, but you do learn so many things about it. Can continents be a single market? Yes. The key role to have is about the physical connectivity which we need to have. For example, when you talk about the physical connectivity, how are you trying to increase our accessibility to Northeast? You can see India as a market, we are trying to promote more connectivity to Northeast. How are you trying to do it? We only have one Siliguri corridor. That is the only thing. We are trying to have networks through Bangladesh, river agreements between Bangladesh so that mainland of India is connected with the Northeast. We are also trying to have a connectivity from Kolkata via Myanmar and via the corridor via Myanmar into the regions of Northeast. Remember the city of More in Manipur, which is a gateway towards the Myanmar region and also the Eastern Asian countries. And we are trying to have connectivity through the ocean as well. So what are we doing? Within the continent, we are trying to increase the what? The connectivity. Similarly, you can talk about Lakshadweep. How are you trying to increase the connectivity of Lakshadweep with different corners of the world? How do you think that tourism in Andaman Nicobar Islands have significantly improved? It's all about direct flight connectivity from different parts of India towards that, isn't it? Right. So in 3-4 hours, you can go all the way from Delhi to Andaman Nicobar Islands. Right. Then another important thing which you need to understand about continents being part of a single market, it's about the natural resources and the shared commonness. For example, imagine one of the tussle between India and Bangladesh, because the natural resources are one and the same. How do the natural resource of, say, the cotton textile industry, the agriculture and monsoonal lands can have a similar agreement between the similar markets? The resources of soil, water are different, same. So there is one kind of a political conflict and the challenge which you might have. Similarly, if you talk about Kerala, much of the vegetation, much of the crops which you can grow can be very similar with Sri Lanka as well. So how can you have an agreement? What are the challenges we might have? So India, China, Vietnam, they are the centers of almost rice producing nations. So how can you have that? So that is a natural resource understanding with respect to the availability of soil, water. We need to check that. That can also be have a shared unity and expect that it's all about balancing. These are all the critical factors, but how as an economic system and a political system are we balancing? is what will give you an idea of continents converting into a single market. Climate and agriculture, this is very, very important. If there is a same climate, if you talk about India, all this region is called it as a monsoonal climate, right? Monsoonal climate, the kind of India we have it around as a monsoonal climate. It is around the entire Indian subcontinent per se. When you study about India's climate, more or less we'll also have an understanding of Bangladesh climate, Sri Lanka's climate, right? There is some kind of coherence. Yes, there will be variations, but similarities would be much more would be there. Say India and Kerala, Sri Lanka and Kerala, Bangladesh, right? Bangladesh and West Bengal, we can say so. They are part of the same region, isn't it? So you have a cultural and historical context, and this is also one of the challenge for India. For example, the kind of challenges we had in the last 100 years because of the partition and all, how it had an impact on different parts. We have seen that the South Asian Free Trade Agreement, the impact of cultural and historical context here, and how the political challenges were shaped here, such kind of things. Also about the market size. For example, imagine India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel could not unify all our princely states. What would have been the consequences? How many passports we need to have to move? How many passports which we need to continuously replenish to move from different parts of within our own country, right? So you can see the challenges you had. All such kind of things. It is also because of one of the things we can say is the political challenge and also the size. Size matters. When you talk about Australia, look at the size. Australia is a big landmass, though the size of the population is very less. The other continents, even though if you have an integration, the perceived benefits would be much more lesser when compared with the things, because it is about the size which matters. Not just that, the technological advancements, the kind of skills you people have, the kind of quality of the skills, the labor which would be providing. Yes, goods, services, capital, labor, but what is the quality of the labor? What kind of technology you have? All these things together will help in shaping a continent turning into a single market. Please understand that this lesson is meant for using geography for the economic development of the country, the linkages of geography with economic development, how we can use the knowledge of geography for further advancements in our policy making is what my major concern is. I do understand most of the topics here are linked with economy and international relations and history. So many things are interlinked, but just it is an observation which I had with respect to this. Hope you all have understood this. Hope you had a very good time. Any further doubts, debates, please put it in the comment section here. If you have a doubt, I'm more than happy to help you. Otherwise, you can directly interact with me by getting into the Telegram channel and drop a message there. I would be definitely answering those. Hope you have understood this. Until we meet next time, happy learnings to all of you. Have a good time, happy learnings, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you. Jai Hind everyone. Happy learnings.